If you had to guess which muscle group quietly disappears first after 60, what would you say? Most people guess the arms, or maybe the chest, because those are the muscles we can actually see change in the mirror. Almost nobody guesses correctly, and that's exactly the problem. The muscles that fade first aren't the ones you can see. They're the ones working underneath everything else, the ones that let you roll over, sit up, and stand without a second thought. And because you can't watch them shrinking the way you'd notice a wrinkle or a gray hair, you often don't realize anything has changed until the day one of those simple movements suddenly isn't simple anymore. Here's what makes this especially sneaky. This kind of muscle loss doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show up as a single dramatic moment you can point to and say, that's when it started. It shows up as small hesitations that pile up quietly, one on top of another, until they become the new normal without you ever deciding they should be. Turning over in bed takes an extra push you don't remember needing before. Sitting up in the morning takes a little more effort, maybe a hand pressed into the mattress instead of just rising. Standing up after sitting for a while asks for a hand on the armrest just in case, even though nothing specific ever went wrong. None of these feel like emergencies on their own. Each one, taken alone, seems too small to mention to anyone, even yourself. But together, they're the body sending a signal that something underneath has been quietly weakening for years, long before it ever became visible. The problem is that most people wait for a bigger sign before they take it seriously. A fall, an injury, a comment from a doctor during a routine checkup that catches you off guard. But by the time one of those moments arrives, a significant amount of strength may already be gone, sometimes years' worth. The good news, and it is genuinely good news, is that this process can be slowed and in many cases partly reversed with the right kind of movement. And that movement doesn't require a gym membership, special equipment, or even the willingness to get down on the floor. It can start exactly where you already are most mornings and every night, lying in bed. Before we go further, a quick and important note. These exercises are designed as gentle, controlled movements meant to rebuild strength gradually, not to test your limits. If you have a recent injury to your hip, knee, or spine, a history of surgery in these areas, or significant pain during any of the movements described here, check with your doctor or physical therapist before starting. The goal isn't to push through pain or prove anything. It's to find the version of each movement that's genuinely right for where your body is today, not where it used to be or where you wish it were.
So which muscles are we actually talking about? 3 groups quietly carry an enormous amount of your daily function, far more than most people realize. And all 3 happen to be trainable from a lying position, which is exactly why this routine works the way it does. The deep muscles of your core, the ones that stabilize your spine every single time you shift your weight, whether you're reaching for something or simply breathing deeply. Your glutes, the largest muscle group in your entire body, responsible for nearly every time you push yourself upright, from bed, from a chair, from the edge of a bathtub. And your quadriceps, the muscles at the front of your thighs that do the heavy lifting whenever you extend your knee, whether that's standing up, climbing a step, or simply straightening your leg out from under the covers on a cold morning. What ties these 3 together isn't just that they weaken with age, though they do. It's that they rarely get challenged in ordinary daily life, once movement patterns become more limited and routines settle into predictable shapes. Walking uses them a little, but only in small, repetitive ranges. Sitting barely uses them at all. And a body that isn't asked to produce force gradually loses the ability to produce it. Not because it has to, not because age demands it as some kind of unavoidable tax, but because it was never asked to keep it. That's the part most people don't realize, and it's the part that actually matters most. It's not really about aging in the abstract, some invisible force working against you. It's about disuse quietly disguised as aging, which means it can also be quietly reversed. That's why the 3 movements in this video are different from a typical routine, and different from what you'll find in most videos covering this same topic. All 3 can be done lying in bed, first thing in the morning before you even sit up, or in the evening before you turn off the light. There's no floor to get down to and back up from, no chair to set up and position correctly, no equipment to find, charge, or store somewhere. This isn't about doing less because you're older, and it isn't about lowering the bar out of pity. It's about removing every unnecessary barrier between you and the movement that actually matters, so that consistency becomes the easy part instead of the hard part. Most routines fail not because people don't want to do them,
but because getting started takes more effort than the exercise itself. This one removes that obstacle entirely. Let's start with the third one. Exercise number 3, straight leg raise. There's a muscle group at the front of your thigh that quietly determines whether standing up, climbing stairs, or simply straightening your leg feels effortless or exhausting. The quadriceps rarely get much attention in daily conversation unless something goes wrong with a knee. But almost every time your knee needs to straighten against resistance, whether that's rising from a chair, catching your balance on uneven ground, or pushing off a step, this muscle is doing the majority of the work. And it happens to be one of the easiest muscle groups to train without ever leaving your mattress.
Lie on your back with one leg bent, foot flat on the bed, and the other leg extended straight out in front of you. Gently tighten the front of your thigh on the straight leg, then slowly lift that leg a few inches off the bed, keeping the knee locked straight throughout the entire movement. Hold briefly at the top, feeling the muscle working, then lower it back down with control rather than letting it drop. Complete a full set on that side, then switch legs and repeat. A common mistake is bending the knee slightly as the leg lifts, almost without realizing it, which quietly removes most of the work from the quadriceps and shifts it elsewhere in the hip. Keeping the knee fully straight, even if that means lifting the leg only a few inches off the bed, produces far more benefit than a higher lift performed with a bent knee that looks more impressive but does less. This movement mirrors an action you rely on dozens of times a day without ever noticing it. Every time you extend your leg to step forward, straighten up out of a squat-like position, or push yourself out of a low chair or the edge of a car seat, this exact muscle contraction is happening somewhere in that sequence. Training it in isolation, without the added demand of supporting your full body weight at the same time, lets you build strength safely, especially if standing exercises currently feel difficult, tiring, or unstable. If the movement feels too easy after a few sessions, you can slow the tempo down even further, taking a full 3 or 4 seconds to lift and the same to lower, which increases the demand without adding any equipment. If it feels too difficult from the start, try lifting the leg only an inch or two off the bed, focusing entirely on keeping the knee straight rather than on height. Progress here isn't about how far the leg travels, it's about how controlled that travel is. The sensation should feel like a firm, controlled tightening along the top of the thigh, never a sharp pull behind the knee or anywhere else. If you feel discomfort in the knee joint itself rather than in the muscle belly itself, reduce the height of the lift or bend the resting leg to a more comfortable angle for additional support. Exercise number 2, dead bug. The next movement trains something most people never think to train directly: the deep stabilizing muscles that hold your spine steady every single time you move. This isn't the muscle group responsible for a flat or defined stomach, and it has nothing to do with appearance at all. It's the one responsible for whether you can roll over, reach for something on a nightstand, or shift your weight suddenly without your lower back taking on strain it was never designed to carry alone. Lie on your back with your knees bent at roughly 90 degrees, shins parallel to the bed, and your arms reaching straight up toward the ceiling. Press your lower back gently into the mattress and hold that connection throughout the entire movement, since that pressure is what tells you the deep core is actually engaged rather than just going through the motions. From there, slowly extend one arm back over your head while straightening the opposite leg out toward the foot of the bed at the same time, keeping both just a few inches above the surface. Return to the starting position with control, then switch to the opposite arm and leg and repeat. The most common mistake is letting the lower back arch up off the bed as the arm and leg extend outward. When that happens, the movement quietly stops training the deep core and starts placing strain on the lower back instead, defeating the entire purpose of the exercise. If you notice that happening, shorten the range of motion considerably, extending the arm and leg only part way until you can keep that low back connection steady throughout the whole movement. There's no rush to reach full extension. This exercise builds the same stability your body relies on constantly without you ever realizing it's happening. Turning over during the night without waking fully, reaching for a glass of water on the nightstand without pulling something, or catching yourself when you shift unexpectedly while getting dressed. A stronger, more coordinated core doesn't just support posture, though it does that too. It's often what quietly determines whether a small stumble stays a small stumble or turns into something worse. As this becomes more comfortable, you can progress by holding the extended position for a second or two longer before returning to center, which increases the time your deep core spends under tension.
If it feels too challenging at first, you can start by moving just the arms while keeping both feet flat on the bed, or just the legs while keeping the arms still, isolating one half of the movement until you're ready to combine them. The sensation should feel like a steady, engaged tension through the center of your body, not strain in the lower back or hips. If your lower back lifts, no matter how small the movement becomes, pause there for now and simply practice holding the press down position on its own, without moving the arms or legs at all, until that connection starts to feel natural and automatic. Exercise number 1, glute bridge. There's a muscle group that does more quiet, heavy lifting than almost any other in your entire body, and it happens to be the largest muscle you have. The glutes are involved every single time you push yourself upright, whether that's getting out of bed in the morning, standing from a chair after a meal, or rising from the edge of a bathtub. And because so much of modern life happens sitting down, in cars, at tables, in front of screens, this muscle group is often one of the first to go quiet, not from age alone, but from simply not being asked to work the way it once did. Lie on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the bed, positioned about hip-width apart. Let your arms rest relaxed at your sides, palms down for a bit of extra stability if you need it. From there, press your feet down into the mattress and lift your hips upward in a slow, controlled motion until your body forms a fairly straight line from your shoulders down to your knees. Pause briefly at the top, squeezing the glutes deliberately, then lower back down slowly rather than letting gravity take over. Repeat for a full set, keeping the pace unhurried throughout.
A frequent mistake is lifting the hips too high and arching to lower back to gain a few extra inches of height. There's no real benefit to that, and it can actually place unwanted strain on the lower back instead of the glutes. Lowering the height until the movement feels stable and controlled produces a far more effective contraction than a higher lift built on compensation somewhere else in the body. Think about what this movement is really rehearsing, because it isn't an abstract exercise disconnected from your life. Every time you push yourself up out of bed in the morning, this exact muscle action is what gets you there. Every time you stand from a low seat or push through your heels to climb a single stair, the glutes are doing the majority of that work, whether you notice them or not. Training this movement directly in the exact position and posture you're already in each morning and night builds strength in precisely the moment where you'll actually need and use it. If lifting your hips feels difficult at first, that's completely normal, especially if this muscle hasn't been asked to work hard in years, sometimes even decades. Start with a smaller lift and fewer repetitions, focusing entirely on control rather than height or speed. As the movement becomes easier over the coming weeks, you can gradually increase how high you lift and how long you hold the squeeze at the top. Eventually, once the basic movement feels comfortable, you can add a brief pause at the very top of each repetition, holding for 2 or 3 seconds before lowering, which increases the challenge without requiring any equipment at all. The sensation should feel like a strong, focused squeeze through the glutes, never a strain in the lower back. If you feel it mostly in your back instead of your glutes, lower the height of the lift and focus on pressing evenly through both feet rather than trying to rise as high as possible. This is the movement worth prioritizing above the other two if you only have a minute or two on a busy morning, because it trains the single action your body relies on most and most often, the ability to rise.
How to know if it's working. Progress with strength doesn't always show up the way people expect. Sometimes it shows up in much smaller, quieter ways than a number on the scale or a repetition count. Maybe you notice you're pushing off the mattress with a little less effort than you used to. Maybe standing up from the couch no longer requires that quick glance to make sure your hand is near the armrest. Maybe turning over in bed at night happens without fully waking up in the process, because your core no longer needs your full attention to manage it. Those small, easily overlooked changes are exactly what real progress looks like at this stage. It can also happen that some days feel harder than others, even weeks into a consistent routine. That's normal, and it doesn't mean you've lost the progress you've built. Sleep quality, a more active or more sedentary day than usual, or simply how your body feels that particular morning can all affect how a movement feels without reflecting any real step backward. You also don't need to do these 3 movements every single day for them to matter. A few times a week, done consistently over months, tends to build far lasting strength
than an intense burst of effort that fades out after a week or two. Because these exercises fit so easily into a moment you're already spending in bed anyway, they tend to be far easier to sustain long-term than routines that require a special time, place, or piece of equipment. 3 muscle groups, 3 movements, and not a single one requires you to get out of bed to begin rebuilding them. The straight leg raise targets the quadriceps that carry you every time your knee extends against resistance. The dead bug trains the deep core stability that quietly protects your spine through everyday movement, whether you're reaching, turning, or catching your balance. And the glute bridge strengthens the muscle responsible for nearly every time you push yourself upright, from bed, from a chair, from anywhere you need to rise. Together, they target exactly the strength that tends to fade first and matters most for staying independent.